frowned at his computer screen. His hand flew across the keys as he tried to find the spy that had broken through his defense. To say the least, he was amazed. Nobody had ever been able to hack his computer, not even the government's finest. Doggedly, he chased the culprit, who was now aware that he had been spotted and was trying to retreat and clean up his fingerprints at the same time. Mouse would admit, whoever it was, they were good, but they wasn't good enough to escape him now that he had them in his scope. Fervently, he searched through his computer looking for just a hint of who his hacker was. A few more steps, and he would have them. He sat back in his chair, stunned at what he found. Quickly, he picked up his phone and sent out a text. 10 minutes later, Solomon walked through his door. Man, I don't feel good about this. If Lion find out we're going behind his back, man, I don't even know what he's gonna do. Solomon put his hand on Mouse's shoulder, where he sat in front of his computer. He not gonna find out. And if he do, it will be too late. We will already have had gotten Dawid and Safiya safely returned home. Mouse shook his head. We may not even be able to pull this off without Lion. I've been looking through these cats' files, man. They are a ghost unit of mercenaries, known simply as the Haitians. I did a little more digging and found out they were behind the assassination of the Black Sultan. Wow, Solomon said, nodding his head. Now that is impressive. What will be even more impressive is us getting in there, grabbing Safiya and Dawid, and making it out with our lives. The smart thing to do will be to tell Lion we found his bin, so that he can go in there with us. Look, man, I promised my father I would do all that I could to make sure that these two don't come to blows. Man, my dad was obsessed with finding this cat. It's gotta be a reason why. I need to find out before Lion does. He gave Mouse's shoulder a solid pat. Trust me, we need to do this without the big guy. We'll have Safiya and Dawid home in no time. Be ready to roll in an hour.
Gideon and I lay on the picnic blanket, feeding each other the delicious lunch that Ema had packed for us. Oh, y'all, who knew?
Are you sore?
He asked, gently kissing my lips. Yes, I was sore, deliciously sore, all over. But to him, I said, a little. He stood to his feet and lifted me up in his arms. I squealed because the both of us were still in our born day suits. He carried me through the trees, past our horses that were peacefully munching on grass, past Wolf, who was lying half dozed and half watching his master, and onto the river. He walked the sand. The cool water will help, he said as he eased us down into it. I sucked in my breath as the water washed over me. The contrast in my body temperature caused me to cry out in shock and wrap my arms tighter around his neck. You see, just a moment ago, my body had been on fire. That's the only way I could describe what I had just experienced. Gideon is a relentless lover. I hid my head in his neck, as I remembered at one point begging him for mercy, and he giving none. Goodness, he had been like a fierce storm washing over me. All I could do was go with the waves and pray I didn't get taken under. I was forever ruined for other men. There was no question about that. It was a good thing that was no longer an option for me, because there is no way another man could make me feel the way he had. As we bathed each other, I thought about telling him that, according to scripture, he and I was officially husband and wife. But then I thought about how he responded to Mistress Elena, or shall I say ex-Mistress Elena, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to ruin this moment. No, I didn't want that. But I must admit, I am lost. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was deceiving him by not telling him what thus says Yah. But at the same time, I felt so vulnerable right now. I was out of my element. I don't know what happens next. Mistress Elena said that Gideon was the kind of man that went through women like knife goes through soft butter. So now that he's got what he wanted, did that mean he was through with me? If not, how soon before he got tired of me? Like he had gotten tired of Mistress Elena. Then maybe he will let us go. Heck, for all I know, he was trying to think of a way to get rid of me right now. Ouch. That thought hurt. But I comfort myself in the thought that if he was tired of me, then I could go home. Back to my family. Yeah, that's all that mattered, right? Psh, who was I kidding? There was no way for me to walk away from him without being scarred, without feeling like I was walking away from my own heart. I should have never let him make love to me. What had I been thinking? His kisses alone had taken me to a place of blissful wonder. Why had I been so naive not to know that his lovemaking would cripple me? What are you thinking about? He asked, rubbing his thumb over my eyebrow. What do you mean? You're frowning. I chuckled. Nothing. Well, I guess I was just wondering what happens next. Now it was he who frowned. What do you mean? I shrugged. Well, now that you've gotten what you wanted, do I go back to the servants' hall to sleep? I looked down in the water so he could see how vulnerable I was right now. He lifted my head with his finger so that I was looking into his eyes again. Then he lowered his head and gave me the sweetest kiss on my lips before he moved to my neck. Well, you can try, but I don't think Dawid gonna be too happy when I kick him out of his bed. And I don't know how comfortable we're gonna be in that twin-size bed. You know, I'm a big brother. But if you want to try it, I'm all for it. I could not stop the goofy grin that came on my face. So, you're not tired of me? He stopped kissing my leg to look at me. Tired of you? Sophia, sweetheart. Drugs ain't for everybody. I blinked up at him, lost. Drugs? I asked. He nodded. Yeah, you gotta be tripping on something if you think I can get tired of what you just gave me. He went back to kissing on my neck, causing my curls to curl under the water. If I had my way, I'd make love to you for breakfast and for lunch, twice before dinner, and then again for dessert. Really? I asked. Baby, we just getting started. He wrapped his arms around my waist, hugging me close, lifting me off my feet. Tired of you, chica. If you want sore, I'll show you just how tired I am of you. Again. Bashfully, I looked at him. Well, I'm not really that sore. He grinned, and then, yeah, he showed me that he had not gotten his fill of me at all. My cries and moans blended in with the sound of the forest to make the sweetest soundtrack to my awakening. Neither of us wanted to leave our little piece of paradise. Grudgingly, we packed up our stuff. He carried me in front of him on his horse, because now I was really, truly too sore to ride my own. While we rode, he whispered to me about forever. I allowed it to fill my heart with joy, even though I knew he didn't mean it. After we got back, Gideon showed me how to wipe down our horses before we put them back into their stalls. We walked back towards the armory from the barn, hand in hand. Doda! Gideon! Dawid yelled, running towards us as if he was being chased by the devil himself. There was blood smeared all over his shirt and jeans. My heart dropped.
Doda, help! Somebody shot Monroe. We were on the field training.
Before he could finish speaking, Gideon had taken off in that direction. Like lion, there was no catching him. Dawid took off behind him. Of course, it took me a little longer. When I got there, it was to see a crowd standing around Monroe, mostly Gideon's men. But there were a few of the armory staff and a few people from the village. Through their legs, I could see Monroe's white hair that had been splashed with bright spots of blood.
What happened?
Gideon yelled.
Who did this?
The ground trembled at his yell. He bent down and scooped up his son, walking swiftly to me.
Can you heal him?
He asked. There was something going on with his eyes. They had gone jet black. The rage that poured from him almost made me ill. I nodded. If it's Yah's will, I told him. Take him to the armory. I'll be right behind you. I took off at a run toward the little purple flower. When I got there, several more things had lit up for me. Quickly, I grabbed them, already beginning to pray. Father Yah, in the mighty name of Yahoshua, please, Abba Yah, show me how to heal him. Tears blurred my vision as I ran back to the keep. When I got there, Monroe had been laid out on the table. Gideon was pacing, and I could see he was barely containing that rage that was washing through his body. He was going to hurt somebody badly. Oh, yeah, this was not good. Dawid sat on the bench in front of Monroe. Quickly, I ran to his side. Please, I need a bowl of hot water, a bowl of cold water. Bring me the strongest soap you can find. Ima, I need some tweezers. I need needle and thread. With hands that shook, I ripped Monroe's shirt the rest of the way open. He had a small hole just underneath his rib cage. My hands were shaking so bad I had to stop and pray for strength. That power that was coming from Gideon was so distracting, and if I was going to help Monroe, I had to tune him out. But that was like trying to tune out a 800-pound angry gorilla.
Find who did this,
he told one of his men.
Find who did this,
he yelled to all his men, sending them all running from the room. He paced up behind me, looking at his son over my shoulder. He was not dealing with this well. I shook my head. I had to focus. I had to be able to hear Yah's voice. I shut down. I breathed deeply and focused on Yah. Dear Father Yah, I went into myself, going so deep in prayer that everybody else besides Monroe ceased to exist to me. As I cleaned his wound, I prayed. As I removed the bullets, I prayed. I was so deep in meditation, it was as if I was outside of myself, watching myself move. As if on autopilot, I cleaned the wound after removing the bullet. Then, very carefully, I stitched the hole the bullet had left in his stomach closed. Told Yah for your many blessings. Told Yah that none of his organs were hit. When I was done, I put the little purple flower in a bowl and I grinded it up with a little water to make a paste. Then I slathered it on his wound and covered it with the bandage. When I was done with all that, I put my palm over it. Bowing my head, I continued to pray. I don't know how long I was out, but eventually Dawid's voice penetrated through my meditation.
Doda, come back. You gotta stop him.
I blinked, looking up at him. What? Stop who?
Gideon. He's burning down the village. He's lost it. Doda, you gotta stop him before he go too far.
Oh no! I jumped to my feet, running after Dawid. I could see the fire burning from the entrance. We ran across the yard, down the big hill. By the time we got to the village, it was to see Gideon kicking in the door to one of the homes.
Where is he?
He yelled. Then a few minutes later,
burn this bee down!
Several children, a few women, and 2 men ran out the house before Lee threw a stick of dynamite into the house. Seconds later, there was a loud boom and the house went up in flames. The men that had exited the house was caught by 2 of Gideon's men and dragged to the middle of the street, where several other men were on their knees with their arms up and their hands at the back of their heads.
Gideon stormed to them, and they all cringed, trying to get away from him. Wolf growled deadly at the group, causing them to cringe the other way. Gideon grabbed one of the men that escaped from the house. A woman screamed out, clutching her children to her. "Please," she cried, but Gideon wasn't hearing none of that. He yelled something in Spanish to the man that he held in the air by his collar with one hand. The man spoke rapid Spanish to him. Whatever he said, Gideon didn't like it because he shook the man so fierce that I was really afraid for that guy's brain. Women and children were screaming and crying. They were all terrified of him. I ran to him. "Gideon," I grabbed his arm. He jerked it from me, turning to face me like the enraged bull. I couldn't help it. I flinched, drawing myself up, anticipating a blow that would surely kill me. When he saw it was me, he dropped the man, a worried look on his face. "Monroe," he whispered. I smiled, holding out my hand as if I was trying to calm a wild, hungry bear. "I know you say that's a bit much, but that's what it felt like I was dealing with." "Gideon, Monroe is fine. He's stable. His wound is healing." The worried look disappeared, and that fierce frown was back in its place. Y'all, this was the man that had just made sweet love to me. And when I tell y'all I was terrified of him right now, please believe me. "What are you doing here?" he spoke with such force. "Gideon, you have to stop this." He got that evil smirk on his face, opening his arms wide. "Not until they tell me what I want to know, baby. Not until they stop hiding the coward that they had hoped would kill me and mine." "Who, Gideon? Who tried to kill Monroe?" "Esteban, my brother." He was smiling now, but not quite. How he managed to do that while spitting rage from his eyes was amazing. "Esteban," he yelled, "come out and face me like a man, punk! Or I will burn this whole damn village to the ground." At his feet was a bag. He went into it and pulled out a stick of dynamite. I thought about the innocent children. "Gideon, no, please, you can't do this." He didn't look at me. He just took out that lighter. Another explosion went off at the other end of the street where some of Gideon's men were doing the same thing. Another one of Gideon's men took out his gun and was holding to one of the guys who were in the circle head on their knees. They were all speaking Spanish, so I couldn't understand what they were saying. Mayhem was just surrounding me. I was surrounded by mayhem. Gideon lit the dynamite and threw it. Seconds later, another house went up in smoke and an explosion. He reached into his bag for another one. "No, Gideon, please wait. There's another way." "Dawid." Gideon frowned down at me, but he waited. "Dawid, where is he? Where is Esteban?" Dawid looked at me as if to ask me if I was sure. We can't let innocent people get hurt," I told him. He nodded and closed his eyes. Gideon's eyes narrowed as he watched him. He's in the ground," Dawid said, opening his eyes. "Right underneath us." I frowned, confused. Gideon's nostrils flared. "That bastard in the tunnel. What are we gonna do? By the time we get to the entrance, he'll be long gone," Lee told Gideon, coming to stand next to him. "Damn that." Gideon fell to his knees and began to punch the ground. Big chunks of dirt began to fly up. Dawid pulled me back as Gideon tore at the earth, displaying power that can only come through the line of Jacob. In no time at all, he had created a hole big enough for him to get through. He disappeared through the hole. Then that wolf slipped in behind him like a black shadow. Seconds later, men were being thrown back up through the hole. 10 total. As they landed, they were grabbed by Gideon's men. Then finally, Gideon came back up, his wolf behind him. He walked to a man that Lee was holding. "Let him go." Lee shoved the man away from him. Esteban was not a little man. In fact, he was as tall as Gideon. Although he wasn't as broad in the shoulders,
He wasn't short-stopping either, and he favored Gideon as well. But where Esteban was tan, Gideon was the color of dark chocolate.
You shot my boy, Esteban? Did your punk ass think you was gonna get away with that? Did you think you was gonna get away with stealing what was mine?
Esteban spat back at him.
Yours!
Gideon yelled at him. Now, I could tell that it was taking everything within Gideon's brother to stand there under the force that he was facing.
It's mine, Esteban. You know why? Cause it ain't a mother here strong enough to take it from me. Maybe not, bro. But I made sure there would be none coming behind you.
With a crazed look, Gideon slowly approached him, shaking his head.
No, bro, you didn't. My boy lives.
Then Gideon uppercut Esteban with such force that there was a loud crack, and I'm pretty sure his jaws, both of them, were shattered. The punch sent the man flying straight up in the air. Gideon leaped in the air, catching him halfway. Grabbing him, he landed on the ground on one knee and brought Esteban down across his other knee, snapping his back like a twig. Everybody, and I do mean everybody, flinched when the sound of that man's back breaking filled the night. Their faces were all frozen with looks of horrified astonishment on them. I'm sure all of them were thinking, like I was, that they had never in their life seen nothing like that. As Gideon stood, his brother's lifeless body fell off his legs. With eyes black with rage, he looked around at the many faces that stared back at him.
You may hate me. You may think I'm the devil himself. But this is my land. And if one more move be made against me or mine, I will kill you all. I will rip you apart with my bare hands.
Slowly he turned, looking at all of them. Then he looked at Lee.
I want everybody that is linked to him gone. Men, women, and children. Anybody that he was seen talking to, friends with, associates, gone. If I see their faces again, they're dead. Tell Miguel, my mother's other son, I want to see him in the keep in 1 hour.
He turned, grabbing my hand, and began to walk back to the armory.